Hello, my name is Joseph McDaniel and I'm an Arizona bankruptcy attorney, and since 2005 I get to tell you that I'm a debt relief agency and I help people and businesses file for bankruptcy. Today's bankruptcy question is, what's going to happen to my tenants when I file my Chapter 7 bankruptcy? A lot of my clients are high-end, super-duper bankruptcy cases like doctors, lawyers, and CPAs, and a lot are ordinary Joes and Janes. As I'd mentioned in a prior post, mature adults seem to be an increasing segment of the bankruptcy filing population because if they're trying to support one generation up and two or three down, they don't have a lot of spare money, really. But a lot of my clients, regardless of their ages, have extra homes they bought during the real estate bubble expansion because that seemed like a very good idea at the time. And because I have the best bankruptcy clients in Arizona, and I'm not kidding about that, and they are one and all decent, caring people, they worry about their renters because they don't want to hurt anybody if they can help it. So they ask, what about the people renting my bad investment houses? And I tell them, you don't have to worry much about your renters. There's a statute specifically designed to provide relief to renters who got caught in the trustee sale explosion. I'll talk about it more in my future posts, and my buddy Peter Stroynick litigates some matters of this sort. But here's the statute for your listening pleasure. And as always, if the law changes, or this isn't an accurate version of the statute, a newer version of the statute exists, well, check multiple sources. And don't rely on this for anything at all, right? Section 702, effective foreclosure on pre-existing tenancy. A, in general, in the case of any foreclosure on a federally related mortgage loan, or on any dwelling or residential real property after the date of enactment of this title, any immediate successor in interest in such property pursuant to the foreclosure shall assume such interest subject to 1. The provision by such successor in interest of a notice to vacate to any bona fide tenant at least 90 days before the effective date of such notice, and 2. The rights of any bona fide tenant as of the date of such notice of foreclosure, A, under any bona fide lease entered into before the notice of foreclosure to occupy the premises until the end of the remaining term of the lease, except that a successor in interest may terminate a lease effective on the date of sale of the unit to a purchaser who will occupy the unit as a primary resident, subject to the receipt by the tenant of the 90-day notice under paragraph 1, or B, without a lease or with a lease terminable at will under state law, subject to the receipt by the tenant of the 90-day notice under subsection 1, except that nothing under this section shall affect the requirements for termination of any federal or state subsidized tenancy or of any state or local law that provides longer time periods or other additional protections for tenants. B, bona fide lease or tenancy. For purposes of this section, a lease or tenancy shall be considered bona fide only if 1. The mortgagor or the child, spouse, or parent of the mortgagor is under the contract is not the tenant. 2. The lease or tenancy was the result of an arm's length transaction, and 3. The lease or tenancy requires the receipt of rent that is not substantially less than fair market rent for the property or the unit's rent is reduced or subsidized due to a federal, state, or local subsidy. C, definition. For purposes of this section, the term federally related mortgage loan has the same meaning as in Section 3 of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act of 1974, 12 U.S.C. 2602. Now, the thing I just read is somewhat easier to read than some legislation, but I'll walk you through it when I get around to it. As you can see, in some cases, the bank that ran the foreclosure is forced to honor the terms and conditions of the lease that was in place on the date of the foreclosure. If you're a renter, that's much better than a sharp stick in the eye, you know? Thank you very much.